Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Before the Sandstorm here on Gamecock Central. Happy game day, happy Thursday. I'm Kendall Smith, joined alongside of Wes Mitchell, here live from the campus of the University of South Carolina. We've got a great spot behind us today, Wes.
The world tour continues. I asked Kendall, is this still called the Russell House?
Yes.
It looks very different. If you are from anywhere near my era at South Carolina, it looks completely entirely different. But it is still, you can confirm, the Russell House. And that is where we are right now, live from campus. I'm excited about this one. We have had some great venues for Before the Sandstorm.
I know if you have any recommendations, anybody watching for where we should go next, let us know because we're trying to top it week after week. This week, like Wes said, outside of the Russell House here on campus at the University of South Carolina. Wes feeling a little old today because he graduated back in maybe the 90s. Early 2000s, just kidding. 2010.
We can go 2010, actually.
2008 is when Wes graduated. I'm a senior at South Carolina, so I graduate this upcoming May in 2023. And it's funny to see Wes reminisce on his glory days here at South Carolina and talk all about it. But I'm in class every single day, so not in class right now. And we're doing this show live for the Sandstorm to preview South Carolina's matchup tonight against South Carolina State. That game happening at 7 p.m. Yes, it is a Thursday, and that is because Hurricane Ian is coming through the area. So we're hoping that everybody out there is staying safe. But that hurricane expected to come in as a tropical storm to South Carolina this weekend and hit really hard on Saturday. So that's why South Carolina moved the game from originally being on Saturday to today on Thursday. And Wes, I want to start kind of talking about the weather. I know we talk about sports, obviously, on Gamecock Central, but we're going to turn into meteorologists here really quick. Talk about the weather and how it could affect the games. Right now, it's a little bit windy. Skies are getting a little bit gray. No rain really expected for tonight, but some strong, heavy winds expected to come through the area, which could obviously impact not just the fan experience, but the game as well.
Yeah, sometimes there's an intersection between weather and sports, and this is obviously one of those times. And, Kendall, I think from what I've seen, the wind could actually be a factor in this game. Like, I wondered maybe this could be a week where South Carolina probably going to run the football first, but maybe wanted to work on their passing game a little bit just to kind of maybe find some of that rhythm that they didn't necessarily have to start the year. Now I'm wondering if maybe they don't just kind of ground it out just like they did last week against Charlotte. If it is as windy as they say it could be, I've heard, 15, 20 mile an hour gusts potentially. Could be a chance of rain later in the game from what Daniel Bonds over at WLTX has said. But for the most part, the rain not expected to be a factor. It would just be more a little bit chilly on the fans potentially, and the wind affecting the passing game as well. By the way, anybody watching us this morning, if the video is fuzzy, we apologize. Hopefully the audio at least hangs in there. We're working on a little bit of a unstable connection, but we're doing the best we can.
Campus Wi-Fi, it's a great thing. Deal with it every single day, and we're dealing with it out here today, but definitely wanted to still go live for you all on Before the Sandstorm to talk about tonight's game. You mentioned the wind potentially affecting the pass game, and South Carolina taking on SC State today, and they are a very run-heavy team. So expecting to see a lot of that out of them tonight. And South Carolina's defense has struggled a little bit with stopping the run game throughout the start of the season. So Wes, for anybody who's watching this show right now and they know nothing about SC State, what can you tell them about South Carolina's opponent in the Bulldogs tonight?
Yeah, they are going to be run first. They've run it more than they throw it. And that in today's era is kind of rare, I would say. Like most teams, even if they run the football quite a bit, it's a little more towards 50-50 or a little bit more towards pass first. And so they're going to run the football. Their quarterback has hit some big plays, but also has struggled with consistency in the passing game, I think. They do have a really solid running back, Kendall Flowers. He's from right down the road in Irma, a kid I saw play in high school. South Carolina actually really looked at him hard, had him in camp, nearly offered him. They were interested in him, never actually offered. He went to Wake Forest, transferred out, is at SC State now, and is their top back. So, I think this is a game you could see kind of just be shortened. If both teams are going to run the football, I don't know if this is going to be a game where the clock gets stopped a whole lot. Like it could just sort of keep moving, keep rolling. And, I think, Kendall, looking ahead, There are a couple of guys on this SC State team that you're going to want to know if you're a Gamecock fan. And Shaq Davis, their wide receiver, even though we're talking about the running game, he is maybe their most talented overall player.
Mm-hmm.
Big time guy. I think is probably an NFL prospect potentially. So Cam Smith versus him, if they're matched up, is kind of a little bit of a like future NFL type matchup,
Okay.
I think. So that might be something to watch if you're kind of looking for the game within the game type thing.
All right, that's a good piece of information. So check out that potential matchup. Shaq Davis, Cam Smith going head to head. And last week, South Carolina's defense really stepping up to the plate a lot more, especially in that second half of play, forcing their first turnovers of this season. Do you expect to see more of that this week against South Carolina State, Wes?
Well, I understand you've predicted more turnovers in our
did.
predictions.
Go check
on
it out on
Gamecock
Gamecock
Central.
Central.
I had the same thought. A lot of times in these games, the overmatched team, especially if they get behind, they're in a situation they have to take more chances. They have to put the ball in the air a little bit more, and that leads to turnovers a lot of times. So I could see that happening. I'll be curious to see second half. Does SC State kind of even – obviously they're going to try. I'm not saying they're not going to try, but do they chase the points, or are both teams sort of just okay with just getting through this game? But both teams have much more important games ahead.
Yeah.
Like the MEAC for them is much more important than today's game. Obviously, SEC play is much more important for South Carolina than today's game is. So it'll be interesting. Do they chase it? Do they try to throw the football? Or do both sides just sort of at the end say, let's get out of here with minimal injuries? But certainly, I think South Carolina creating some more turnovers, building more confidence, and maybe just starting fast. I feel like that's something we've talked about
every week
a ton. Like it literally is every week. We talk, can South Carolina start fast? For today's game, they can win without starting fast.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're talking about like, hey, they need to start fast if they're going to have a chance to win the game. I think it's just more about eliminating that trend, because at this point, I mean, you hate to say it, Kendall, but it truly is a trend that they have not started fast. So you want to see, especially defensively, them just go out there and execute that game plan right off the bat, get the offense back on the field, and build that overall confidence.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because last week, South Carolina relying very heavily on their run game. Marshawn Lloyd with a great game, his best career game so far at South Carolina. And, the defense struggling early against Charlotte last week. Again, they kind of locked it in that second half. But someone who had a quieter game last week was Spencer Rattler. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. He didn't throw any interceptions. He did what he was supposed to do, but it wasn't the Spencer Rattler show. And I'm wondering if heading into this week's game, we might see a little bit more of that. I know you're anticipating a little bit more ground game happening for South Carolina and that trend to continue for them. But do you think that South Carolina will continue to use Spencer Rattler in that role he was kind of in last week, where maybe he's not so much the center of it all, but someone who's kind of making plays happen around him?
Yeah, I thought they really sort of took the game off his shoulders last week. There were a few, play action passes, but a lot of the throw game was like little quick perimeter passes where it's kind of an extension of your running game. I would like to see them throw it around a little bit more. Now, as this breeze comes through on us right now, I'm wondering, what is the weather like? Again, to go back to that, Kendall's freezing, I think. To go back to that, how much does that affect the passing game for South Carolina? Now, he has a strong enough arm. He throws a tight enough spiral. If it's like it is right now, it actually will be a discussion piece, but I don't think it actually affects him a whole lot. So I would like to see South Carolina moving forward, not really as a key to win this game, but just as a key to their overall offensive health going into what I believe we're all going to agree is like the key stretch of the season coming up. You want to sort of build on the passing game. And I think what you can do, you can go into a game with like the same game plan, the same package of plays, but you just play call it a little bit differently. Last week, it was obviously run, then mix in a quick pass, mix in a little play action. You can use the same game plan without much change and still call more passes. So if the weather is fine and the wind isn't bad, I could see them potentially wanting to maybe hit a few more deep balls, hit some intermediate throws down the seams, and just really kind of go into next week feeling like the passing game and the running game have been worked on for these last 2 weeks.
Well, we did see South Carolina make a little bit more of an effort with some explosive plays and some deep balls, especially in those first couple of games of the season. And we may see a return to that when South Carolina gets back into conference play next week, taking on Kentucky. And I think, Wes, you can agree with this, and everybody watching can agree with this, that these last 2 weeks for South Carolina have been so important. The game against Charlotte and then the game today, obviously incredibly important, because you might regain a sense of confidence if you're South Carolina, especially after those really tough matchups in week 2 and 3 against Arkansas and Georgia. So now South Carolina taking on SC State on Thursday. They have an additional couple of days to prep for Tennessee. How important do you think that is? And then who do you think needs to step up tonight and do really well so that heading into that really crucial matchup against Kentucky, they've got some confidence under their belt?
Yeah, a couple extra days to prep for Kentucky.
Who did I say?
You said Tennessee. You're looking well ahead. This is live video though, so no edits here. Kentucky.
Sorry, I know that I said Kentucky first, and then I said Tennessee.
I think somebody said I said Charlotte earlier instead of SC State. So we're doing the best we can.
We're
but
trying.
This is live.
We know it's Kentucky next week
and SC State today. What was the question? No, all right. So I think for South Carolina, I think I remember the question. Give me a quick.
Yeah, South Carolina. Just who needs to do well tonight to get some confidence heading into the Kentucky game, and how important have these last 2 weeks been in terms of overall team morale, confidence heading into a really tough stretch?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up morale. Spurrier used to say this: when you really just beat the heck out of a team, you get your second team in, your third team in, all your backups in. These are the guys that are working just as hard as the starters, but they don't normally get to go play. So your overall locker room morale just takes a big step up because the guys are actually getting a little bit of payoff for, I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but when Doty went in and like the second and third team guys were in there, like there was a little bit of energy in that group last week. You could tell they were excited to play, and they didn't just go out and hand the football off. Like they let them go play and throw the football around a little bit. The reaction when Rucker scored his touchdown, like that was special. Like that was really, really cool. So I think overall morale is up right now. And we on the outside may look at it like, oh, that's a win over Charlotte. That's what South Carolina was supposed to do. But in that building, they don't necessarily look at it like that. They're looking at it like we did what we're supposed to do. We executed. This is what happens when we execute our offense. This is what happens when the defense adjusts and executes in the second half. So for them, I think it's massive, and I think it's massive to start to get healthy. Like, yes, Mo Kaba, Jordan Strong, they're out for the year. That's going to hang over this defense all year long. But that long list of guys who were listed as questionable, you saw Cam Smith back last week. You saw Boogie Huntley mixed in there a little bit. Jalen Nichols was back. R.J. Roderick was back. Those guys are all getting healthy. They're going to hold Darius Rush out this week, but I would expect them to maybe try to ease him back in going into next week potentially as well. So for the most part, you're getting back to health. So I think that's another huge key tonight. Don't have any major injuries for both teams. Just get through this thing with your win, but with your team intact.
You going to the game, Wes?
I am going.
Are you excited? Are you going to be cold?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Wes is trying to say that I'm cold out here. I am a professional figure skater. I'm not cold. Okay. I'm used to being cold.
I didn't know you were going to take that personally when I said that.
I'm taking it personal.
I can tell. You took it very personally.
Taking it extremely personal.
By the way, I have a question for you. So we are on campus right now, which I'm going to bring up again because I'm excited personally about our different venues for Before the Sandstorm. So I need A, B, or C.
Okay.
USC students today. A, going to all their classes. B, going to their morning classes, skipping everything after morning classes. Or C, no classes at all. And you don't count. You're in senior semester. Y'all have different schedules. I'm talking about the general population here at USC. What do you think percentage-wise is like the plan?
I think it's B for most students. Now, you're going to have your C students who are not going to go to class at all. And they're just going to take
are probably C students.
This, and maybe worse. D's get degrees, ladies and gentlemen. Not that I get D's, but I'm just saying.
Oh, just putting that in there.
I'm just throwing that out there in case my parents are watching this show. But yeah, I think there will be like a group of people that just totally say, you know what, I'm not going. But I think most people are going to their morning classes and then they're going to say, you know what, I'm not going to afternoon classes. I'm going to tailgate. I'm going to experience this game day. I'm a senior, so I have a lot of senior friends. We only have so many games left that are at South Carolina, and so many of them happened at the start of the season. After this game, South Carolina goes on pretty long road stretch, and then they only have a few games that are here at South Carolina. I think it's Missouri, Tennessee, and A&M that are the only ones left. So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to skip their afternoon classes today. I'll be in class the entire day and then running over to the stadium. I'm vlogging my day. So if you want to see behind the scenes on Gamecock Central, definitely check that out. But I think C is going to be the option for tomorrow. If class doesn't get
no classes
canceled,
tomorrow.
I don't think people will show up. Like there may be
Good
classes
call,
tomorrow.
Good call.
But last night was Wednesday night, so it's not a huge going out night for a ton of people. But tonight, with it being a Thursday night, it's already a going out night. It's already a game day. I think a lot of people will not be in class tomorrow, and there is a chance maybe class could get canceled tomorrow if wind gusts get high enough. And I know we're in a tropical storm watch. I think if that goes up to a warning, classes may be canceled.
But for a lot of people, classes will personally be canceled for different reasons.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So
I need Shane Beamer to write me an excuse
he's
letter.
He's already said that's not happening though. He said in the press conference that he has no control over these things. No,
me personally, because I'll be working until like 2 a.m. tonight.
Well, will you be yawning as that happens?
If you didn't see that, check that out. I got personally called out.
Yeah, you may get a letter then. So Kendall, it's honestly not. I feel like maybe some students are skipping totally today because is this normally how it is in the morning? Like, I feel like there's not.
Yeah, it's kind of dead.
It's a little bit dead. But hey, from everybody at Gamecock Central, make the decision. Skip class. It's okay. Go into the game. She's shaking her head. Go into the game, experiencing it. It's way more important unless you have an exam today.
Take your exam. Do what you have to do. Get your homework done. But yeah, go to the game.
And if you're a professor giving an exam on a game day, shame on you. That's all I have to say.
Wes Mitchell said it. And to answer the question, do I have skating footage? I do have skating footage. Some of it is on my Twitter, actually. So if you go to my Twitter, it's on there. It's on my Instagram. So I post sometimes me skating. It's a little fact about me that I don't always talk about. But yes, I grew up as a competitive figure skater, and it's a fun little part of my life. So when it gets cold out here, I can kind of handle it. But when it starts to get windy, that's when I have to cut it off, and it's supposed to be windy.
It's going to be very windy
tonight. Yeah. South Carolina, though, with a shortened week heading into this game against SC State, you expect that game plan to be similar to what it was last week against Charlotte. So those couple days that they're getting taken away won't really affect it.
I think it has to be. You know, like if you look, they basically had Sunday and Monday off. And these guys never really have a true day off, but that's from like on field. You know, they don't have on field work. They didn't do padded work at all, I don't think, this week. So really, if you go into a week, there's literally not time to install a new game plan. So it's not going to be the same exact script necessarily, but it will be similar plays. And I'm sure there are plays they didn't run last week or that didn't hit that were already in the game plan that we didn't see. But for them internally, it'll be very much the same, I would almost guarantee. And the same for SC State. Like, you just cannot install much new in really it's a couple of days, because even yesterday, Wednesday, that's really more of a walkthrough day because you don't get guys hurt the day before a game. So, yeah, it's going to be very similar. This is kind of like an exhibition almost.
Yeah, and they had Monday off as well, I believe. Yeah. The team did. So, yeah, that's what I'm just saying. Like, they had Monday off. So, sorry, I got a little distracted by the tour. There's a tour happening. So maybe they'll Apparently not.
Test one.
Now
All
we're
right,
back.
there we go. There. All right,
We're back.
we are back. Still no sound.
Let us know if you hear it.
They can hear us now. I'm even more so confident. But
It's live streaming. There's always going to be technical difficulties. I wanted to show the tour people.
check 1 2 3. All right, we're good.
So now you're talking about Pandinis.
Pandinis.
He's going back to his glory days. Back when I was in school.
In the comments, tell me if y'all have ever experienced Pandinis. Because it was the best thing to ever happen to the University of South Carolina. Kendall's never even heard of it. They had like chicken Alfredo. They had Caesar salads. They had these chicken Caesar like wraps. So good.
I never experienced it.
And they also, so back here, Kendall, they have a Chick-fil-A now. They have a Panda Express. I don't even know what else they got back there. This used to be an
Italian restaurant.
This used to be an actual cafeteria. Like they would cook the food, and you would have different things every day if you wanted. So you had chicken. Do y'all have Chicken Finger Wednesday? No.
Honestly, Wes, I have not stepped foot inside the Russell House since I was station manager at SGTV, which was my sophomore year.
Okay, that's about to change. We're going in there.
I don't think I've eaten in Russell House since freshman year, and I'm a senior now. And thank you everybody for commenting on my sunglasses. I think the sunglasses are a fan favorite.
Well, it's too shady right now.
Yeah, I can't wear them right now, but yeah, the sunglasses are at the J school right over there, and they are in the classroom because I wore them this morning. So Wes does not like my sunglasses.
The old woman glasses.
They're not. They've got studs on them. They're a vibe. We'll have to get new ones.
Something.
Maybe I'll have to get new ones because people are hating on my sunglasses. But yeah, I think that's all we have to get into, unless you want to keep reminiscing on South Carolina.
I mean, I do. They'll have to check that out on the vlog. So
yeah, we're vlogging, so you can head over to GamecockCentral.com. You can watch it. Wes doesn't really like being in the vlogs, but it's our version of keeping up with the Kardashians, Gamecock Central style. What Kardashian do you think Wes is? Let us know in the comments. This is really starting to take a turn here on Before the Sandstorm. We're now getting into food, the Kardashians. We have totally gotten off track, but the point of it is South Carolina plays SC State tonight at 7 p.m. It's a Thursday from Williams-Brice Stadium.
Score prediction?
Their Week 5 matchup. I think I said
45.
Maybe 42-10.
42-10?
Yeah.
Okay.
What'd
I said 49-13.
Okay.
All of them are pretty similar. All the
Kendall can get an NIL for that sunglasses deal. Wes is the brother on
I don't know what that means.
Daniel's like, get out while she's talking about keeping up with the Kardashians. Honestly, this is a very interesting version of Before the Sandstorm, but
the best one.
It's live from campus. All these lovely people behind us.
Oh, we finally got some students.
We've had some.
Oh.
Game day.
By the way, I was hoping this would happen. If you've attended this university, you have at some point in your life tripped on one of these.
Oh,
you know what? Bricks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if y'all caught this. I wasn't going to call them out. I heard the sound of the trip behind us. So, yeah.
That stinks. I've done that.
But
so
no, everybody's
times.
done it. It's just it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, it is a rite of passage here. But South Carolina taking on South Carolina State tonight, 7 p.m. Williams-Brice Stadium, Week 5 game day here at South Carolina. This has been Before the Sandstorm, and I think next week it's actually going to be virtual because I'll be in Kentucky. So we'll have to come back strong when South Carolina plays Texas A&M on October 22nd. Let us know where we should go next for Before the Sandstorm. Until then, he's Wes Mitchell. I'm Kendall Smith.